Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we discuss the biggest talking points and results from across European football. Joining myself, Doogie Critchley this morning, it's Michael McCubbin. McCubbs, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Doogs, not too bad. Still feeling a bit tired from the weekend, to be honest, but yeah, quite jam-packed one. What about yourself, Doogs?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I had a couple of birthdays myself. Wasn't feeling my freshest yesterday, but slept for about 12 hours. I haven't done that since I was a teenager. So yeah, feeling okay now. But should we get straight into today's story of the week? Because we've got a potential departure from the Premier League in Tanguy Ndombele. What's going on with this one, McCubbs?
Yeah, I mean, this one seems like it's kind of been on the cards for a while. Tottenham seem to be, set to get rid of pretty much all their midfielders, don't they? Yeah, Tanguy Ndombele, as we know, has had a pretty disappointing spell at Spurs, hasn't he? And it looks set to end now with the 25-year-old close to joining PSG on loan. Now, the former Lyon player wasn't involved in their matchday squad for that 2-0 defeat to Chelsea yesterday. Lo Celso, despite being 100% fit, according to himself, was also not in the squad. Dele Alli also not featuring. Instead, kind of playing around on some TikTok filters, wasn't he, at home?
Pretending to be a beaver or something.
Yeah, very, very odd. That one of the most kind of lo-fi filters I've seen in quite a while. Really taking it back to kind of 2017. But yeah, I mean, obviously this suggests that they could all be moved on, couldn't they? Obviously Dele Alli in particular, there's been a lot of speculation about him. Newcastle apparently still interested in taking him on board. But equally, you know, that does mean that Spurs would need to find at least one replacement in the next week. And there's talk of a swap deal with Leandro Paredes, but then RMC Sport claimed that the Argentinian has refused to join Spurs, so that seems off the table. Fabrizio Romano is saying that that Spurs will only sanction this if PSG agree to pay 100% of Ndombele's £200,000 or reported £200,000 per week wages. So yeah, this is going to be far from simple. I mean, PSG can almost certainly afford that. But whether they want to, having handed out so many big contracts last summer, I'm not so sure. But yeah, Dukes, do you think this would be a worthwhile investment for PSG?
It seems a little bit strange because I think they're pretty stacked in midfield. We saw them demolish Reims at the weekend 4-0. Verratti scored 2 goals. I think they were his first goals for something like 3 years, which was pretty crazy. Danilo Pereira grabbed a goal, of course, as well. Idrissa Gueye, they've got on their books. Ander Herrera, Gini Wijnaldum, Paredes, as we mentioned. And Gini Wijnaldum's already, come out and said he's not particularly happy with his game time at points earlier this season. Ndombele is obviously immensely talented. I don't think anyone ever doubts that. Everyone can see it, but it's clear that he's needed to step up his performances for quite some time, and it hasn't worked under Mourinho, hasn't worked under Nuno, and now isn't working under Conte. So whether Pochettino can get him back to his Lyon best, remains to be seen. Of course, it was Pochettino that originally brought him to Spurs before being fired in that November, was it, as well? So I do feel slightly sorry for him in that the manager that he was supposed to work under, he never really got too much of a chance. His numbers aren't terrible, 10 goals and 9 assists in 91 games, but he's only completed the full 90 twice this season and has only played 80 league minutes under Conte so far, which is 7% of those available. His stats this season, 1 goal and 1 assist in 9 league games, just 2.1 tackles and interceptions. That's really pretty poor for a central midfielder. That's down from 3.2 in his final year at Lyon. 1.7 shots, which is a career high, suggesting that at least he's trying something. He's maybe, trying to push a bit too hard to make that difference in single games. But just 0.7 key passes, that's down from 1.6 at Lyon. 2 dribbles, which is still exceptional, but only completing about 54% of them. That's down from his rate of 72% at Lyon. So every element of his game is sort of suffering right now. But yeah, it would be a great move for Ndombele, going back to the country of his birth, back to a league he knows well, and get a great opportunity to win the first trophies of his career, of course, as well. And after, I was reading an Athletic article last week, and I think they were saying that after Serge Aurier and Moussa Sissoko's departure from Spurs, he's sort of lost his 2 key allies in the dressing room. Like, there's no suggestion that he's not a really nice guy, that he's not, he's not a bad egg, as it were. But he's just been a slightly odd fit for the Premier League, and probably hasn't shown the application that you'd have expected for a club record signing, who, as we said earlier, is being paid £200,000 per week. So it seems like this is going to happen at some stage if Spurs can sign that replacement. I mean, McCubbs, he is, as we keep saying, such a talented player. But is it fair to say that his application has been a little bit below par?
Yeah, I mean, when you speak to Spurs fans, I think that they're all incredibly disappointed at how this move's turned out. I was speaking to a couple yesterday who said out of him and Lo Celso, despite, Lo Celso also enduring some pretty poor form this season, that Ndombele would probably be their first choice to go. I think, like you say, Dukes, it's just never looked like he suited the Premier League, and whether that's just his playing style or what's being asked of him, it just doesn't seem to have fit very well. And so, I think you probably could question his application a bit. Obviously, he's had trouble with injuries. I think when you get kind of significant injury problems in your first season in the Premier League, as he did, and also a managerial change as well, I think that can really mess up kind of your kind of start. And with some players, when they don't hit the ground running, then that really kind of messes with their confidence and their mentality. So I think there's probably a variety of factors why it hasn't worked for Ndombele. But yeah, I'm with you. I think a return to Ligue 1 would probably be good for him.
There we have it, guys. We're both in agreement this is a great move for Ndombele. But Spurs fans, who would you like to sign as a replacement midfielder in the next few days before that window slams shut on Monday night? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to our result of the week.
Our result of the week comes from @FootballJarno on Twitter. And we're going to the Eredivisie, Doogie. A rare visit to the Eredivisie. What went down?
Yeah, I mean, we get criticised for not talking about the Eredivisie enough, but it definitely deserved it on this basis. Ajax beat PSV 2-1 away from home. But before we get into that, just a quick shout out for Atleti's comeback win against Valencia. But yeah, we wanted to talk about this potential title deciding clash. I mean, it won't be decided just yet, but it felt like a massive, massive statement. Ajax went into this game 1 point behind PSV, but managed to move top for the first time since early December with a victory in a pretty chaotic game, sealed by a beautiful goal by Nusayr Mezraoui as well, who we've been talking about on our Continental clubs recently. What a player, and he was playing just his second game after a month-long injury layoff. Great finish with that left foot, curling in off the post. Gorgeous goal. Even that was controversial though, because there was a long delay with VAR because they wanted to check whether the ball had gone out of play on that left-hand flank with Daley Blind during the build-up to that. But you felt that it was a pretty deserved win for Ten Hag's men. They had 57% possession. They completed 78% of their passes, which is probably a bit below par for Ajax actually. But PSV only completed 69%, which I think goes to show how up for this game Ten Hag's side were, how high they were pressing PSV and just forcing them into mistakes. And they also led for 55 minutes of this game, so it felt like a deserved victory for them. Brian Brobby actually opened the scoring with an excellent header from a Tadic cross, but he had to go off shortly after with an injury. He got injured in the sort of a few minutes before in a pretty full-on challenge. It was a sort of 50-50, and he seemed to hurt his shin, so he went off. Götze then equalised after Yurin Timber made a rare error at the back, giving the ball away. But 90 minutes later, as I said, Mezraoui sealed it with a beautiful curling winner. Remarkably, though, this was Ajax's first win in Eindhoven since March 2016, six games ago. So it felt like a massive, massive statement in the title race. But from a PSV perspective, this wasn't ideal, McCubbs.
No, I think Roger Schmidt would be pretty disappointed, won't he, with the display. Obviously, it was a lot closer than the reverse fixture, which ended 5-0 to Ajax in Amsterdam back in October. But yeah, I think it was another indication that despite PSV really, setting the pace this year in the Eredivisie, that Ajax are still a class above them. PSV had been in really good form. They'd won 7 of their last 8 games, gone unbeaten that time as well, but they've now lost 2 more games than Ajax, and scored 13 fewer goals and conceded 21 more as well. So in every kind of element of their play, they seem to be lacking behind the Amsterdam club. In fact, 4 Dutch sides have conceded fewer than PSV this term, so that's clearly a slight issue for them if they really see themselves as serious title challengers. And they've actually only conceded 1 fewer than 14th place Heracles. So it's clear that the back line is something that Schmidt needs to work on. On the other hand, Ajax have only conceded 5 goals, including one in this game. That's 9 fewer than the next best in Europe's top 5 leagues, which is Man City. Their goal difference of plus 56 dwarfs the best in Europe's top 5 leagues, which is Bayern on plus 46. We were talking about them last week, weren't we, on the podcast, Ajax. This kind of second great Ten Hag team is really a sight to behold, and can't wait to see them back in the when the Champions League kicks off again in February. Key performers for PSV: centre back Oliver Bashagli was excellent, 5 tackles, 6 interceptions, 6 clearances, all the most on the pitch. Really had his work cut out for him on the day by that Ajax attack. For Ajax, Edson Alvarez was very solid in midfield as well. 4 tackles and interceptions, 7 aerial duels, 1 dribble and 1 shot. Nothing really got past him. Big reason why they dominated the game so thoroughly. Man of the match though was probably Mazraoui. Obviously scored that beautiful goal. Also completed 3 dribbles, had a shot himself, and made a tackle. Pretty solid performance from him. Next up, PSV play 5th place RZ, so massive game for them if they want to kind of reaffirm themselves in the title race, and Ajax host Heracles. So yes, Eredivisie fans, what did you make of this game, and who do you think is going to win the title in the end? Let us know down below. Let's move on to our star of the week.
Okay, it's time for everyone's favourite section. It is Star of the Week, and this week we've pumped for Tammy Abraham at the suggestion of Miles XSFC. Easier for you to say than me. What went down with this one, McCubs?
Yeah, I mean, we could have chosen a few players this week. Moussa Diaby got a hat-trick against Augsburg. Bayer Leverkusen, very much back in the top 4 mix now. Donyell Malen getting a hat-trick of assists this weekend as well. But Tammy Abraham, continued his excellent scoring form for Roma in that 4-2 victory over Empoli, particularly that first half. I thought Roma were really impressive. The English striker now has 10 goals and 3 assists in 22 league games for the Giallorossi. 9 goals and 1 assist in his last 9 games. So he's really hit excellent form kind of around the turn of the year. And he had just a brilliant impact on this game. I think he has been easily one of Roma's best players this season, and now the goals are beginning to flow as well. 5 aerial duels he won, 5 shots, 2 goals. He was also involved in the build-up to Zaniolo's goal with that excellent little flick on to Mkhitaryan. So, an all-action display from him, and really, put Empoli to the sword in that first half. What did you make of the game, Dukes?
Yeah, as you say, I thought that first half, particularly the first 40-odd minutes, I should say, Roma, it was the best I've seen them this season, I think, by a distance. Mourinho will probably be a little bit frustrated that they still conceded those 2 goals, one of which was particularly avoidable as well. But this was still an excellent display. They created 2.2 XG, only 1.1 against, which also goes to show the quality of some of their finishing as well. The Portuguese will be particularly pleased with the impact of his new signings. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was reasonably solid, playing at left wing back for the first time in quite a while there. But Sergio Oliveira, who's now on loan from Porto, was absolutely superb. Probably could have been star of the week himself, to be honest. 8 tackles and interceptions, 1 dribble, 5 key passes. That's nuts. You'd expect anything over 3 key passes is really pretty special. So 5 is really good. 2 shots, 1 goal, 1 assist. And that's 2 goals and an assist in his first 3 games for Roma. And you think with Lorenzo Pellegrini having some injury issues at points this season, they don't really have that many goals in central midfield aside from Pellegrini. So Sergio Oliveira, if he continue this form up, maybe we'll see Roma sneak into the top 4. Who knows? They are 6th at the moment. They're 4 points behind Juventus, who could only draw 0-0 with Milan in a bit of a disappointing game that we were bigging up on big match predictions, as probably the game of the weekend. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. But yeah, massive credit to Tammy Abraham. Really impressive. He's got a fantastic goal scoring record wherever he's been now. And yeah, for that massive move in the summer, for that big pressure on him, he's really delivered so far on that fee. So massive credit to him and Mourinho as well for turning around that sort of November-December wobble they had. Roma have recovered reasonably well. So we'll see how they can do towards the end of the season. But guys, that's all we've got time for on ERU for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. McCubs, what would you recommend they watch now?
Go over our explains on the weekend. We had an explain come out on EFD yesterday on Barcelona and how they can still afford players despite their financial difficulties. There was a decent explained out on FD on Saturday that I kind of haven't remembered now. But Continental Club from last week, we discussed kind of the weirdest, or no, what did we discuss again?
Signings that can win your side.
That's it. Yeah, sorry.
Weirdest Titus Races was the podcast.
Yeah, that was the title, and the weirdest transfer rumours was Joe's. We need to talk. So I'm getting all our videos muddled up now. Clearly haven't recovered from the weekend, but yeah, go and check out all that stuff. It's all really good.
Perfect. As you can tell, we've got loads of content across all our 3 channels and on Snapchat as well. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you later on in it. Bye.